Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Gameweek 29 team selection video. This is Pranlier, also known as Lateriser 12, and wishing all of you that are celebrating, just wishing all of you that are celebrating a very, very, very happy Holi. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I wasn't there on the podcast on Wednesday. The podcast is actually going to be on Tuesday, which is what often I had committed to. But there was a power outage in Chennai, because of which things couldn't sync up, and I couldn't make it on Wednesday with the boys. But they've done a fabulous job. Both the team selection videos are already out. And in this team selection video, I will, outside of covering my paths and thoughts, I will also do a free hit draft for the guys that are on free hit, in terms of where I think you could potentially gain some advantage and some fun punts in there as well. All right, so let's get into the swing of things. First things first, I'm recording this at about 5:30 Indian Standard Time, which is around 1 o'clock UK time on the Friday, and we do have some news on Trent Alexander-Arnold, where Slot said that he's still to be assessed, but we do expect him back before the end of the season. Now, before the end of the season could literally mean anything. But because they mentioned end of the season and not 1-2 weeks, I think I'm more likely to believe that it's maybe after a few weeks than now. Maybe they haven't even had a scan and they don't have news. So as things stand, I'm inclined to sell Trent if you were to fund a certain Norwegian big hitter in your team. But that's your decision. At the moment, I'm inclined to sell Trent. Right, let's get into how the week was. Horrible week. I mean, the last 6 weeks we had gained from 1.2 million to 450k. This week fell back to 650k. Big reason for that was I captained Palmer instead of Salah. But we said, right, that we are playing a game where we don't care whether we're 200k or 1.2 million. We're forcing the issue. We're going for it, and we went for it. And I got a lot of grief for people telling me that, it was a tough gamble when you're backing the most informed player in the league against the weakest team in the league. Uh, my instinct was that Liverpool wouldn't be great in open play. Salah wouldn't be great in open play, which was the case. But it didn't work out. Things happen, man. That's FPL. But outside of that, got no returns from Nkuku, Bumo, Vissa, Isak. Only Munoz and Clivert came through. And Clivert should have had a goal or two more. It was outstanding against Spurs. So that's that week to write off, and hoping we can make some quick brown next week. Just a little bit of an assessment of the landscape in terms of how people are looking at Game Week 29, whether you're on free hit or not. In general, in the top 100k, people have about five players with zero fixtures, where people have about 2 to 3 players from Liverpool, Isak, and maybe they have Hall or Gordon. They've got a Palace player, whether that's Mateta, Munoz, Eze, or Sar, and they maybe got some Aston Villa players. So a lot of people have 10 players in play. In general, what are the ownership numbers looking for? Just for the sake of the free hitters, Palmer is very highly owned, and most of you that are on free hit are going to take on Palmer. So that's going to be a important equation for you guys. You need to have wood on your free hit draft. Either way, the highly owned players that you can probably take on, I think Palmer's the only one that you can take on. Boomer if you fancy it, but he's such a good pick anyway. Gabriel if you fancy it, because Arsenal play Chelsea now. I'm not sure or confident that Arsenal keep a clean sheet. Do you want to take the Arsenal clean sheet on? Presence of both did the team's clean sheet odds in the team selection video. And Arsenal stop at 36%, but there's no team that's above 40% on clean sheet. I think there are a couple of teams, which I'll mention in my free hit draft, that you can take on with your free hit. Outside of that, not much else to write on. So you can play fairly differential this week. In general, people have a lot of players from Forest. They've got Wood and a defender. They've got Boomer plus Vissa. They've got a Bournemouth midfielder or two with Evan Nielsen. They've got Palmer plus a defender maybe. These are the number of players from each teams so far in the top 100k. They've got a Mikolenko or a Pickford. They've got a Gabriel or a Raya in general. That's the ownership that we're looking at. Very low ownership teams that are potential opportunities. The two Manchester teams, in my opinion. United plays Leicester, which is a great fixture. And this is the last 135 minutes of United football has been the best football I've seen us play this season. I think we're on an upward trajectory. Things could look good. And City, while they've been Jekyll and Hyde a bit hot and cold, they still got quality players. And anything can happen in the Brighton game. And Brighton have tied up defensively, as the boys pointed out on the pod as well. So that's that. What would I do with the free hit draft? All right, so I think some of the picks are pretty obvious. Haaland picks himself on free hit. You need to get him. Whether you're on free hit or not, his rolling 6 game week average is improving. It was about 0.4 or 5 in December, not 0.67 right now. He's getting a lot more big chances, etc. And I just think he looks good. He looks fit. He's got a good cast of people around him. You hope that De Bruyne doesn't play. Marmoush plays, which I think is better for him. And when it's a game against Brighton, right, there's always scope for that game to be slightly more open-ended, and there needs the scope for that game to have goals on both sides of the pitch. So I think he's a good pick. Chris Wood picks himself against an Ipswich defense, which is sitting at the third bottom for XGC, expected goals conceded in the last 6 game weeks. And this spot where people are going different is the third striker spot, and I think that I was debating two options, either Evan Nielsen or Raul Jimenez. And why I picked Jimenez is because Spurs generally are dodgy after European games. And if you saw the game, which was Bournemouth against Spurs, Spurs are still not in a great moment. Clive should have had a couple of goals. Bournemouth should have had 4 or 5 goals. They should have had 2 goals in the first 5 minutes of that game. So I think Jimenez pick at home to Spurs is a slightly high ceiling pick, which is why I like Raul Jimenez as a pick on a free hit option. Clive picks himself. Definitely have Clive. Go Evan Nielsen if you want to. If you're in the market for United striker, I would say probably go Xerxes. He looks good. He doesn't have goals in him, but he's getting chances and he's in a good moment. He's lost a lot of weight, a lot more mobile. We're in a good moment. Bruno Fernandes has to be in a free hit team. And it might seem like he's getting a lot of set piece goals of late, but his open play threat has also gone significantly better by virtue of us just playing slightly better. And it doesn't matter whether he's going to play in the front three or he's going to play as the hybrid 8 in the midfield role, because even if he's playing in the midfield role, he's getting into good positions. Amrin's setup is finding Bruno Fernandes in impact making positions. So Bruno Fernandes needs to be in your team potential captain option. If you want to take on Haaland, I still prefer Haaland, if I'm very honest, because he's just a big chance hogger. So go Bruno Fernandes on your free hit. If you want to go Garnacho, I'm dodgy about it because does he get a rest? He played the full 90. Does he get a rest? Because I think Ugarte generally probably comes in for Casemiro or Collier. Both of them are fit. If both of them play in midfielders, Bruno go up, that means that one of Xerxes, Hoyland and Garnacho don't play. That little bit of dodginess is there. But even if Garnacho starts, he's playing on the right. He's got more assist threat than he's got goal threat. And he takes a lot of low XG shots. It's a high volume of low XG shots. Not all of them go in, so you could get lucky. One big piece of advice to free hitters is that it's so difficult to predict FPL returns for players anyway, but the shorter the duration of the period, the more unpredictable it gets. So it's a lot of luck dependence. If football is a low event random game anyway, right, where we have maybe 2 or 3 goals in a game, an average. So you've got 3 goals and 3 assists in a game on average. When you're trying to predict it over 1 week, it's even more difficult. So don't look too much at odds, etc. Look at matchups. Go with your instinct. It's where you're allowed like a 1 week fling without too much long term consequence. So fling away, man, and fling backing yourself. Boomer's an option, obviously, on penalty, so that counts for something. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 penalty takers in your team already by virtue of having Clivert, Boomer, Bruno, Haaland, Wood, and Raul. That works. And then there is, I think, the fourth midfield position is sort of like a punt position. If Munetsi is fit, I think it's a good option, man. Because ever since he's played, shout out to Neil for the stat, he's third highest for non-penalty expected goal involvement among midfielders ever since he's made his debut. He's sort of playing OOP. He plays against Southampton, who improved against Liverpool, but he's playing in that 10 position behind Strand Larsen. I like him as a punt. If you're going for a Forest midfielder, literally you could go for anybody. Ilanga has got the best NPXGI afterward in the last 6 game weeks amongst Forest midfielders, but Gibbs White is on penalties. Hudson Odoi is playing on the side where Ipswich tend to concede a lot of the chances and goals. It's a roll of the dice. Go where you want. Any other punts that I like? Yes, City midfielder. Whether that's Savio, Foden, De Bruyne. If you get early news for the kickoff, before the kickoff, you could go there for a punt. Now, the big thing I want to say is that there's not many clean sheet odds in this. There's not very high clean sheet odds for defenders in this game. So I would go for attacking defenders. And I want to shout out to United defenders, especially for this particular free hit shot. because Leicester is the worst attack in the league. They're sitting bottom for XG in the league in the last 6 game weeks. And United, if you think about the Arsenal United game, Mazraoui found himself in the center of the box in goal scoring positions 2-3 times. And the same happened with Dalo. The same happened with Dorgu. Dorgu had 4 or 5 shots in the Sociedad game. Dalo scored a goal. Our wingbacks are beginning to find themselves in goal scoring positions. So I think there's a genuine chance you could get an attacking return or two. And there's a decent chance for a clean sheet because Leicester are just the worst attack in the league. So I would say it's a good roll of the dice to go for 2 United wingbacks, but definitely go for one. I'm just feeling that punt. And if I have to pick between the two, I would say go for Basraoui. He was taking outstanding positions in the Arsenal game. And then the other 2 picks that I like in defense are the wingbacks. Ipswich, Nico Williams or Aina against Ipswich. I would go for that. And Ait Nouri against Southampton. So pick 3 out of these 4 defenders would be my recommendation. Take on Gabriel, I say. Take on the popular defenders. And then in defense, Pickford because he's just a beast as a keeper. So that's my free hit draft. That's what I would do. Go with your gut. Go back your instinct. Go back your read of the games. That's all I'll say. Okay, let's talk about my transfers and what we are planning to do with my own team. And I want to talk about Haaland. I talk about the rolling. Shout out to, I think, Fantasy Football Scout who did this. I think it was Mark Jobling that did this table for the rolling XG. This is a last 6 game week rolling XG. So if you see in game week 6, it's the last 6 game weeks. What is the rolling data there? So what I wanted to point out here is the rolling XG for Haaland at the beginning of the season was 1.05, 0.8, 0.9. Then November, December, it was really bad when all their players were injured. But it is trending upwards, 0.78, 0.7. Now again going a little down, but I think it's general upward trajectory. What I also like is rolling on target. He's starting to be a lot more accurate now, is Erling Haaland. And he's getting a lot more big chances. He's getting as many big chances as he got at the beginning of the season, where it was 1.67, 1.5, 1.8. Now he's getting 1.67 big chances a game. That's why I think Haaland against Brighton and Leicester is just a good shot to take, which is why I'm going to take it. Both Pras and Zoff did this last 3 game week table. The teams that stand out to me are the obvious ones: Wolves, Bournemouth, City. The thing with Bournemouth and City are the Ipswich game and Leicester game, which are the prime games, are 3 or 4 days after their FA Cup game where they face each other. Wolves don't have any such result. They play Southampton and West Ham. So good option, Munetsi, Stan Larson, Ait Nouri. And they've got Ipswich as a follow-up game as well. So Wolves in general have just good fixtures. West Ham have some decent fixtures, but I don't like is Everton. Wolves are away games. They're not quite clicked into gear. Forest have decent games. Ipswich, United, Villa. Wood is a good buy. Who else? Who else do you want to talk about? Nobody else at the moment. Whether you want to hold on to Palmer's got Arsenal this week, and he's got Spurs and Brentford. It's worth noting that Palmer was sick and a little unwell, and he had fever and everything, and he wasn't going to play. And bloody Maresca didn't give us that information, because if I got that information, I would have shifted the captaincy back to Salah. But he's got Spurs and Brentford, which are good game for attackers. Even Isak has got Brentford and Leicester, which are good game for attackers. So selling Isak is also a decision, because you're probably going to need him, especially if you're on bench boost 32. They have a double game week. You're going to lose value on him, and he's got good fixtures in 30 and 31, but you need to face some decisions. From a macro point of view, now we've got 10 game weeks of the season left. Every game week is 10% of the remainder of the season. You have to prioritize points in every single game week. And in general, don't use too many free transfers, or don't make many spectacular moves unless you're funding Haaland, because we're going to get a lot of information after the FA Cup and between the FA Cup and Game Week 30 deadline or the Game Week 31 deadline. And that's going to decide your paths in the future of the season. So just hold your horses, play for Game Week 29-30, and then decide what you want to do in the future. So what are the paths that I have? I have decided that I'm going to go for Haaland. I'm going to captain Haaland. I'm going to sell Isak, because that's the best way that I have to do. To do that, I've got decent enough of doublers around in my ecosystem. I've got Vissa, Marmoush, that's 2. Clivert, Bumo, Palmer, that's 5. Gabriel, 6. Mikolenko, 7. Pickford, 8. So I want to get Haaland. So what can I do to get Haaland? I will sell Isak to get Haaland, but that can be funded by going Trent down to either Hill or Cresswell, which is a 3.9 million defender. I wish I had 4 million. Then I would get Agbadu, who's got good 3 fixtures for the next 3 game weeks. But I don't have I don't have 4 million, which is why I have to go for either Hill or Cresswell. And that allows me to downgrade Nkuku to Iriok Bunam. He's a deadweight midfielder. I don't care too much about him. And Nkuku playing Arsenal this week. I'm not sure about his prospects this week. And later, I have got Jackson and Madueke who are likely going to be fit. So I don't know how much Nkuku is going to play anyway. So I'm just solving the problem. It's a dead spot for me. I'm not going to need him in 30-31 because I've got other good players around that. So I go Nkuku down to a dud midfielder. I go Trent down to either Hill or Cresswell. The thing with Hill is Sabarne is likely back, which means that he'll be centre back. So on the right back slot, you have either Cook or Hill. So it's a 50-50 situation there. And the thing with Cresswell is that he's playing because it's a 3 at the back. He started 6 out of the last 7 games, but West Ham are playing 3 at the back. Potter could switch to 4 at the back. So it's dodgy with both picks. So I just need to research a little bit into this. But it funds Haaland and the cheap defender that I'm getting anyway. The other option I have is sell Boomo. The thing with Boomo, though, he's got tough fixtures on paper, where he's got Bournemouth away, Newcastle away, and Chelsea at home. The thing is that Bournemouth and Newcastle both play, which means that Boomo will be right at the edge in the last line, looking to make a run in behind. These games stylistically are pretty decent for Boomo. Do I want to sell him? But if I sell Boomo, things become quite easy for me, where I get Garnacho or Semenyo, a midfielder I like, or Ilanga or Hudson-Odoi, and I can get a decent 4.5 million defender that I like. Probably Mazraoui or Kirkes or Wright Nouri or a Forest defender. So the options open up if I decided to sell Boomo. But stylistically, the game suit him. So whether I want to risk taking on Boomo, that's the decision I have to make, or I sell Mo. And I'm inclined to not sell Mo because the fixtures for Mo in general just great until Gameweek 34-35. This is one advantage that the late wildcarders have, where and I'm going to lose a lot of value on Mo if I sell him. The late wildcarders, the wildcarders who are looking to wildcard in Gameweek 34 or 35, can hold Mo till 34, till they win the league, until the good fixtures are there, and then can sell him for the tough fixtures. But Mo is probably going to be a good pick until the end of the season because he's somebody who chases records, and he's going to be doing that for the rest of the season. We don't know how Slot is going to treat that situation. So am I ready to sell Mo? If I sell Mo, then I'll get Bruno Fernandes, I'll do Isak to Haaland, and I can get Trent down to any defender I want. So that's where I am in terms of potential moves. I'm leaning towards one at the moment and get a couple of dodgy defenders and midfielders, but I'm losing Nkuku and Trent. It's not too much to lose at them. So that's where I am with my team selection video and what my potential paths are. I'll make a decision tomorrow. If you have any opinion on which path I should take, if you have any opinion on a 3.9 million defender, let me know. I would be happy to get any more information that you guys are giving me. And we're in the market. We're going to analyze. Thank you to, by the way, all of you that reached out to us and sent us applications, because we're in the market for a video editor, somebody to join our team who can basically do a lot of shorts, reels for us and edit our videos, team selection videos. We're looking for somebody to be full-time with us on video, who does the graphic design and the editing work for us. So if you're willing to help us with that, reach out to us. It's a paid job, obviously. Reach out to us at the fplwire@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to look at your submissions, which we're planning to do in the national break. That's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Good luck this week and take care.